before our distinguished guest arrives, wouldn't it be good to have a tidy up? All around here is covered with this rubbish.
He won't notice. He's too old.
On the British unmanned landing of 93. The English are a nation of litter buds.
Go to hell.
Luna Kaya calling you, Tom.
Put him on, Lisa, will you?
Hello, Mr. Hill.
Hello, Gregor.
I have decided. You ready?
Fine, when you're up.
Knight to King's Bishop 3.
Knight to King's Bishop 3. Thank you, Gregor. Out. $20 time for a drink. Not that there's any difference between 1 hour and another on this wretched planet. New video cassettes in yet, are they?
No, I didn't arrive in the last shuttle.
That's all I need.
It's the first time they've forgotten.
They must have a strange idea of us, you know. Here we are, dedicated. That's the word, dedicated. Bored to death. But we don't need any entertainment, do we? Because we're dedicated.
Precisely, my dear Tom. And when they do decide to send us a visitor, they don't send us Miss World or even the runner-up. They send us an octogenarian scientist.
I know, let's try the old steam radio. Sunspots.
And who was it who said they don't write songs like that anymore?
Me, for one, thank God.
Another trip down memory lane.
Do turn it
And this
off.
time for
Oh,
you,
we've got to have some entertainment.
From 14 St. Margaret's Avenue, Brinton-on-Sea. And it's with much love to our neighbours down St. Margaret's
please.
Avenue, and especially your very good friend, Leslie.
And Bruno, Paula, Si, all of you, please. Something that I wanted to say. As far as I'm concerned, Sir Benjamin Dyce is one of the great scientists of the last century, and I want him treated that way.
Well, I don't think anybody's...
I've heard remarks about the idea of sending old age pensioners up to the moon to save the cost of keeping them in homes on Earth. Now, that sort of thing, you know. Well, I don't like that attitude. I won't stand for it. You understand?
Understood.
See, I suspect that one of the reasons he's here is because he just still is a very influential man. He's been leading the campaign against the Arctic Sun Project. Now, you know what that means? Now that the United States has officially gone in with the Russians, it makes Dyce the open opponent of his own employers. But the moment he arrives here, he's an honored guest. Right?
Yes.
Yes, sir?
Calder.
Yes, sir.
Sir Benjamin Dyce has just landed. Reception party to my office, please.
I've never known him take so much trouble over a visitor before.
I think polite arrogance is what's called for. Like one of the Victorian explorers meeting a cannibal king.
No, just because he's extremely ill, we mustn't make him think that he's at least 6 generations of scientists behind us. We must cultivate a sort of informal civility.
And this is Dr. Helen Smith.
I've always doubted if women have any useful place in science.
I don't think Pierre Curie would have agreed with you.
The man was a fool.
I beg your pardon.
Any man who is so careless to the material he is researching is to die from it. Tell me, Dr. Smith, what is your work here?
I'm the psychiatrist.
And you find conditions here conducive to interesting cases?
One could say that living here was living under stress conditions the whole time. It is likely to create behavior problems if people are deliberately offensive.
This woman's worth the rest of you put together.
About the Arctic Sun Project.
What about it?
Well, we've heard of your opposition to it.
Yes.
Well, we're very isolated here, you know, obsessed with our own activities. What is your main objection?
It will destroy all life on the planet Earth. Now, when are you going to show me the work you've been doing on this moon base of yours? That's the only excuse I have for being here.
Now, if you like.
Good.
the festivities?
It's for Michelle. It's Bastille Day.
Ah.
Hello, Helen.
Hello, Lily. Can you put that on?
You look terrible.
I have had 1 hour, 22 minutes with the professor.
I'll mix you a drink.
He carefully explained why the work I've been doing for the last 7 months was useless.
And was he right?
I don't know yet.
Ba, 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 ba,
The 14th of July. And in Paris there will be singing and dancing in the streets and lots of wine. And here we celebrate with reconstituted calf's liver, synthetic potato, and H14, a local lunar vegetable so disgusting that nobody's ever bothered to give it a name.
Well, at least there's wine, Michelle.
Oh, yes, of course. You mustn't forget the wine. Chateau Mouton Calder. Add 2 packets of purple powder to 5 liters of recycled effluent and stir. I wouldn't find it all so revolting if I didn't know how it was made. But still, up there it's different. Up there it really is le 14.
We have a habit of an informal drink before dinner.
And, what is this?
The French flag. Because today on Earth they are celebrating the 14th of July.
Look out there, all of you. What do you see?
The Earth.
And can you see your beloved France?
Oh, yes, not clearly.
And
but...
can you see where France stops, and Germany, Switzerland, or anywhere else starts?
Oh, not with the naked
You
eye.
cannot see that if the soil is as close to your face as this meaningless bit of cloth. It is only on maps that the color of one country is different from the color of the next.
There is nothing wrong with a man being proud of his
There
own
is
country.
everything wrong with it. It is because of people like you, obsessed with national pride, that we are stuck with brilliant. I can say that because it was my idea in the first place, back in the 60s, with brilliant but misguided projects like the Arctic Sun. Am I not going to be offered a drink?
Of course.
Permit me.
The Arctic Sun. Put a controlled nuclear fusion device into orbit over the Arctic. A tame hydrogen bomb that will keep on burning like the sun. Then we can melt the ice. Millions upon millions of square miles of land, now no use to anybody, will become the new Garden of Eden. Is my drink not ready yet?
Yes, sir. Is whiskey all right?
It's only seemly to have something ready to toast the suicide of the human race. Where was I?
The new Garden of Eden.
Ah, yes. Of course, when I suggested, all those who were older and wiser than I was said it was impossible. But I'm not a fool. I had done my calculations to prove its feasibility.
And then there were the protests that the melting of the ice
Would cause massive flooding in areas like the British Isles, parts of Siberia, Holland, and so on. Am I explaining this, or are you?
I'm sorry.
I proved, beyond the shadow of doubt, that the loss of land and the cost was insignificant compared with the new land that would be gained. For the first time, man would know that his children need never go hungry. It was at that point that they patted me on the head and told me to forget all about it. So I returned to my serious work, for which they eventually awarded me with a Nobel Prize.
What made you change your mind?
Of course, I should have realized what was happening when they pulled me out of my sheltered cloister at Trinity and thrust me into the concrete and plastic zoo in America.
Plastic zoo?
Oh, they called it the University of San Diego. Who should be there but Boris Chuikov from the Moscow Academy? The Arctic Sun was to be a joint American-Russian project.
Why did that make it so undesirable?
Nations represent human beings to the factor of X. An error of judgment by an individual becomes a cosmic blunder by a nation.
But, Sir Benjamin, a brilliant and audacious scientific idea, your own idea, is about to be given practical expression.
Now, what is so wrong in that?
It was one evening. Boris and I went to our rooms with the latest calculations from the computers. At first, I could not accept what they meant. It is brutal for an old man to realize that the one real fruit of his mind is corrupt. I went to Boris's room. I didn't have to say a word. I could tell from his face he had realized what I had realized. I tried to tell them in America. Boris went back to Russia to tell them. We hadn't much time. Nobody would listen. Not in America, not in Russia, nowhere. The sound of the national anthems drowned what we were trying to say. Last week, I heard that Boris was dead. A heart attack, they said. The Russians are very discreet about suicide.
But what did you find? There's been nothing in any scientific paper we've seen. Only the old arguments about flooding.
Oh, no, they wouldn't publish the new arguments. It was considered much too dangerous. It might cause unjustified alarm. It might even discredit the national leaders.
But, Sir Benjamin, what made you and Chuikov decide?
It is all a matter of where they must effect this fusion. 47,000 meters of upper point, 113 degrees, 7 minutes west, 79 degrees, 2 minutes north. That is the point at which we achieve the required balance, so that the new sun melts the ice no faster and no slower than we have calculated. It is also very nearly above the magnetic pole, where, as you know, the magnetosphere is minimal. My assessment, Boris's assessment too, is that the fusion will not be contained. What will happen is that they will explode a hydrogen bomb above the weakest point in the Earth's armor. It will set up a chain reaction of the hydrogen in the atmosphere. The air itself will combust. And man will have destroyed his own planet.
Well, I can say without fear of contradiction, that was the most depressing Bastille Day dinner that I shall ever eat.
Well, I found it almost a relief. Oh, the silence, I mean, after he finished telling us.
You're alone, the friendly neighborhood harbinger of doom.
I wonder how he'll take it.
Take what?
When nothing happens. An old man with a fixation and intelligence enough to recognize what's happening when its basis is disproved.
You know, that's the most appalling thing about him. He really had a wonderful mind once.
He still has. He's just mad, that's all.
Oh, no, I adore the double concerto.
Well, the satellite must have gone on the blink again. Perhaps one day they'll provide us with a new one. Try the video.
Yes, Tom.
David, I'm sorry to bother you, but could you come over to the control center at once, please? Something rather odd's cropped up.
Be right with you.
You know, it looks like the whole circuit's on the blink, not just the satellite.
Marvelous, isn't it? We live in the miracle age of technology, and we can't even get the video or the radio to work. And we find ourselves drinking this.
Oh.
What's the matter?
I don't know. Suddenly, all this equipment went dead.
Well, that's working all right.
Yeah, all the stuff that's lunar-based, lunar-powered, that's working normally, but it's just the rest of it.
Well, maybe we've had a main power unit go.
No, then one of the emergency generators would have come on. It would have registered there. It's all the equipment that relates to the Earth.
But if one of the satellites failed?
No, I've scanned all the satellites. It makes no difference.
Well, how long ago did this happen?
Just before I called you.
When they stopped, did they stop suddenly, or was there a moment or two while they ran down, as it were?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't watching. I was thinking about chess. I just noticed the sound had stopped. Then when I checked the visual circuits, I found something else. Take a look at that.
Well, I don't see anything different about that.
Well, look again, David.
Yes, a faint haze. A solar flare, perhaps?
Or something's happening to the atmosphere. It's as though the Earth was dead.
You can't think that...
David, there is a way we can check whether the trouble's here or on the Earth. We can ask the other moon bases. They have separate contacts, quite independent from us. If they're working normally, the trouble's here and there's not all that much to worry about. I could do that right away.
Yes.
I'll get hold of Semenov. He sleeps by his control desk.
Yes, Tom?
Oh, Lisa, could you get me Semenov and Lunakaya, please?
Right away.
One thing. Don't give them the impression there's anything wrong here. Don't want them to think we can't run our own business.
Hello, Mr. Hill.
Hello, Gregor. About that chess game. You're running out of time, you know.
Oh, yes, the chess game. King to rook 2.
King to rook 2. Fine. Oh, everything okay with you, is it?
Of course. Why should it not be?
Oh, no reason. You're just up rather late, that's all.
So are you.
Yeah, true. Well, if everything's okay, then.
Everything is fine.
Good night, Gregor.
Good night.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
To bed. I'll leave you to your checking, Tom.
Good night, David.
Good night.
I dream of food now. Food and women, in that order.
Tell me, Helen, what do you dream of?
Oh, didn't you know? Psychiatrists don't dream. They have a specially built-in filter mechanism to reject dreams.
Well, they know what the dreams mean, so they'd worry themselves to death, huh?
Morning.
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 Could I have a word with you, please?
Yeah, of course. What is it?
Last night, when you'd left, I realized something.
What?
Well, after I'd spoken to Semenov, I made his chess move.
So?
Well, he moved into check. He'd never do that normally. He just wasn't concentrating.
But how does that all...
Well, after it worried me a bit, so I took a moon buggy over to Lunakaya.
Yeah?
They have got the same trouble.
I see.
The same time it happened to us, they lost all contact with the Earth.
Why the hell didn't they tell us?
Same reason we didn't. Patriotic pride.
Yeah.
So then Semenov and I went over to the Americans at Moonbase 1. First they wouldn't let us in, said something about trouble at the port of entry, pressurization. I tried to bluff it out.
Hmm?
Anyway, we finally did get in.
And?
And when we got to the control center, dead as a dodo. Whatever is happening, it's not here. It's on the Earth.
Just listen to me for a minute, will you? We seem to have a problem. I was hoping it could be fixed without making it public, but unfortunately it hasn't been fixed. Now, as you know, last night, Sir Benjamin Dice proposed a rather wild idea. That the Arctic Sun project would, in effect, burn up the atmosphere and kill off all life on Earth. Now, by a coincidence, soon after the time that he was telling us that there would be this cataclysm, we lost all communication with Earth.
Last night. The radio, it stopped working.
Now, we have no reason to believe that this is anything more than a coincidence. But until we can re-establish normal links, I don't want to cause unnecessary alarm, and I don't want anybody outside this room to know. We can expect that everything will be restored any minute. But until then, I'm relying on all you to help me. I should explain that all the other moon bases are experiencing the same interference, but obviously, when the authorities on Earth find out what is causing this, everything will return to normal.
Normal, Director. Look. Hey, you trumped the last club.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You played the 5 on my queen. Come on, my sweet, admit it.
Oh, take your hands off me.
Shut up, both of you.
All the time he's pawing at me.
What's wrong?
I said shut up. I'm not worried about your
Leave
bickering.
me alone.
Just look at that and stop quarreling. You expected this, didn't you?
Yes,
And you didn't do anything.
I did what I could.
Well, damn it, man. You're a Nobel Prize winner. Sir Benjamin Dice. You could have stopped...
Michelle.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Please? Shall we start the game again?
Well, there it is.
What's the result?
Well, with your approval, I'd like to start reducing the oxygen content of the base tomorrow. It won't really be noticeable if I take it down to, say, the equivalent at living at 2,000 meters on the Earth.
Here.
And that should see us out. There's no problem with the fuel. It's the food that worries me the most.
There aren't going to be any other supplies.
Well, there's no alternative. Now, if we ration what we've already got, it should last us 3 or 4 weeks.
What about the other bases?
Well, they're roughly the same. The Americans and the Russians are shared better off. The others are shared worse. There's not much in it.
That's the position.
3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, what does a week or two matter?
Now, the next question is, when are the other people on this base to be told?
I can't answer for how they'll react, but I think it would be better if you told them as soon as possible.
Apart from anything else, as soon as they feel the full effects of the change in the atmosphere, they're bound to start asking questions.
I think it more honest to tell them.
Right? Do you all agree?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to tell them immediately anyway, but I'm very glad that you all feel the way that you do. I'm sorry.
Yes, sir?
This is David Calder. Would you get me every internal line, please?
Go ahead, sir.
This is the director. I have something important to say to you. Many of you have commented on the appearance of the Earth. A notice from Space Control went up on the boards to say that this was due to freak atmospheric conditions. Well, I have to tell you now that that message did not come from the authorities on Earth, and I'm sorry to say that it is not true. It would appear that last night, lunar time, a project called Arctic Sun was initiated. Now, despite the warnings of a small group of very distinguished scientists, including Sir Benjamin Dice, that this would prove very dangerous, the project went ahead. Now, as far as we can learn, when the fusion was set off, a chain reaction started of all the hydrogen in the Earth's atmosphere, and, well, we can't be exactly sure what took place, but now we must assume that the Earth is a dead planet. We have enough oxygen and food to last for several weeks, but, well, after that, we must assume that there will be no more supplies. And so I ask you all to understand and, well, we will all need each other's comradeship. We will do what we have to do. And when that time comes, may God have mercy on us all.
Surprised you're still up.
Don't see much point in sleeping.
Can't see much point in staying awake.
No. Tom?
Yeah?
I've been thinking about the time when...
It stops.
Yeah. You see, I don't see the point in gradually cutting down the rations like people in a lifeboat. Not when...
When there's nobody.
Exactly. So I think the best thing that we can do is to maintain normal rations and normal oxygen balance as long as we can, and then, well, how do we do it?
Well, I could introduce carbon monoxide into the atmosphere. Gradually. Over a few hours. It's easy enough. We just get sleepier and sleepier.
Good. Oh, and if you could work out how long we can maintain normal rations and...
I've already done so.
So little time.
Bruno, what on earth do you think you're doing?
I brought you a drink. Strega, my personal supply.
Bruno, it's late and I must get my sleep.
Sleep? Why waste time? Sleeping for? You get all the sleep you want soon. We all will.
Look, I'm sorry, but you must go.
Just one, huh? Just one. Medicinal purposes.
All right, just one, and then off you go, eh?
Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die.
Come in. Yes?
Sir, I would like to know when exactly you propose to kill us.
You're drunk.
No more than most people on the base, but yes, I'm drunk.
And go to bed. I'll speak to you in the morning.
I will go when you've answered my question, sir.
I've already told you that we have supplies...
With respect, sir, that is not what I asked you. I assume that at some stage you will have decided that we will all be poisoned, or whatever you think best. I'm just asking, with respect, to be told when.
Even if what you think is correct, and I'm not saying that it is, I have no intention of telling you or anybody else.
I have the right to know, sir.
Go and sleep it off. I'll speak to you in the morning.
Shall I tell you why I have the right to know, sir?
You're in no state to tell anybody anything.
Because I'm going to take my share. Nobody else's, just my share. All the food, all the drink that is rightly mine, and I'm going to get so drunk. And then I'm going to kill myself.
Oh, now, you listen to me.
No, you listen to me. Dear God, I've listened to you often enough. You've told me when I work, when I sleep, when I eat, when I go and leave, everything. But there's one thing you're not going to decide. You are not going to decide when I die. Do you understand that, Dr. Calder, sir? I have the right to that decision, not you. Who the hell do you think you are? You're not God Almighty.
I am the director of this base. Now go to bed, and that's an order.
An order? You stand there when the entire Earth is dead. And everybody who put you where you are, they're dead. And the whole stupid, silly base is collapsing around you, and you say, you're the director. You give orders. Well, let me tell you something. If you kill us and don't eat or drink whatever it is yourself, you'll be the only man left alive. Have you thought of that? You can stand out there alone and shout out to God. Right now, there's just you and me. Do you know something else? You'll try to give orders to God.
We'll discuss all this in the morning.
But I believe in God, you see. At least I was brought up to it. It's the sin against the Holy Ghost. Despair. Despair of salvation. Did you know that?
Yes.
Well, it's not as if... Well, it isn't a sin, is it? Despair. When there's no hope.
David, please come quickly. Please come quick.
Bruno! Bruno, no! No!
Shut up a minute, can you? What happened to me? one and the same. Like that bitch Paula. You lead him on and then nothing. No! Suppose I'm not good enough, huh? Senior members only, is that it? If I were Michelle LeBrun, huh? Oh, you're precious! Come! No! No! What the hell do you think you're doing? Well, we're just having a drink.
Get your quarters. I'll deal with you in the morning.
And just what do you think you'll do to me then, huh?
Get your quarters. I'll deal with you in the morning. Do as I say.
Good morning.
Morning.
I want a word with you all. Last night we had a little trouble. Fortunately, nothing very serious happened. A member of staff has apologized, and so the incident is now closed. But you must all realize that we're going to be under great strain from now on. It's up to the senior members of staff to set an example. Tom.
Yeah?
You haven't shaved.
Sorry?
Bruno, you look more like a plumber than a scientist. We will continue to live and work exactly as we've always done.
We will all whistle Rule Britannia as the ship goes down.
Oh, you mentioned that you've done some work on photosynthesis. I would like to see it.
Of course, after breakfast.
David.
I've got an idea. What Bruno said about the ship going down.
I thought it better that I didn't hear that.
Oh, but we've got a ship. We can go down to Earth.
Huh?
With the lunar shuttle.
That's not designed for a moon-Earth trip. It wouldn't stand re-entry into
But we
the
can
Earth.
rig up some sort of a heat shield.
See you in my office.
If we use the minimum possible fuel for liftoff. I mean, take a risk, it's worth it.
Are you two irresponsible children still planning this scatterbrain idiocy?
Sir Benjamin, with all
you
due
are
respect,
intellectual
sir.
incontinence. Ideas dribble from you without either volition or control.
I realize that whoever goes on this trip will
Will
probably
die. Do you still boggle at the idea? And of course they will die. Everybody will die. That is not the point.
And what is the point?
The point is that you'll be giving those left on this base hope.
Well, is that so bad?
When men give up all hope of living, they accept death and become gentle. But once you allow them to hope, then envy, anxiety, and fear nurture their will to survive. They will become desperate enough to destroy each other and to destroy you.
I still think it is my duty to try to contact Earth.
May I ask you something else?
Of course.
We are, as you say, all that is left, but we are more than that. Man, in a typically childish way, has set fire to his own blue touch paper and failed to stand well back. So we here are the sole repository of human experience.
I suppose we are, yes.
There is one last thing that we must do. We must record, as far as we can, all that our species has achieved. Such knowledge as we can collate and remember must be recorded so that it can be useful one day to whoever finds it.
What we don't record will be lost for eternity. I can imagine no greater responsibility. And we'll need someone to make the trip. With the power available, that load has got to be just one man.
I'll go.
We need you here. As you've made a point in observing in the past, you're the only one who knows the plumbing.
But you'll need somebody with basic astronaut training.
I have such training. Please? Should like very much to be the one to go.
Very good. Now, I don't know whether you'll reach Earth or what you'll find there. But if there is a future for us, it's in your hands.
What's the verdict, Jose?
She's ready to roll.
You happy about the port stabilizer?
Oh, good for another 50 pips, mister, here.
One'll do. Right. All we need now is the pilot and we're in business. Anyone know what's happened to Bruno?
He left the soothing up room some moments ago. He should be with you by now.
Yeah, well, he's not.
I'll check up on it, Tom.
What's up?
It's Bruno. He's managed to lose himself between the airlock and the shuttle. I'm going out to help look for him.
All right, Michelle.
Michelle?
What?
Looks like we've got an emergency on our hands.
Apart from the end of the world. What a bore.
Bruno! 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 Bruno!
No need to shout, my friend. If he hasn't switched off, he'll hear a whisper.
Let's try over there. Bruno? 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 There he is. Hello, Moonbase. It's okay. We found him.
Copy, Tom. He'd better get his skates on.
What's he doing there?
Could be sitting this one out.
Maybe.
Bruno? 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 Well, old son, a fine dance you've led us.
I can't.
Can't? Can't what?
It would be like blowing out my own brains. I couldn't pull the trigger.
So that's it.
I'm sorry, Tom. I can't go.
Michelle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Radar lock on.
Copy.
You're looking good.
Good luck, Michelle.
Altitude
It's
500
ironic,
meters.
isn't it?
Trajectory
Man's last journey is back to his own planet.
Well, known as the special theory of relativity, which, though somewhat simplistic, paved the way for the sophisticated hypotheses of Chun-Sang, who, in 1989, postulated the revolutionary
The atmosphere of the planet Earth was made up of a mixture of gases in the ratio of 20% oxygen, 78% nitrogen.
Beethoven's later works, although he was deaf, have great complexity, but simple themes. For example, the late quartet opus number 132, 133, and 134. No. What does it matter which number it is? No one will ever hear them again. Beethoven died in 1827. Any news from Michel?
He's on course, Paula. Feeling fine.
Of all the stupid ideas I've heard since I've been here, that is the most idiotic.
The last flicker of the human desire to explore the unknown.
The Icarus syndrome. People dream of what he tried to do and never thought about what happened to him. I've always held that the last words of mankind will not be the secret name of God, but what is this knob for?
Human beings were different from the other animals. They were the only animals who would kill when they were neither hungry nor sexually jealous. But they were also capable of love. I don't know how I can describe love. Calder.
David, the shuttle is just about at entry interface with the Earth's atmosphere. I'm going to try and re-establish contact.
Be right over.
Moonbase 3 to shuttle. Do you copy? Moonbase to shuttle. Do you copy? Shuttle, do you copy? Shuttle, do you copy? Moonbase 3.
Shuttle to Moonbase, I copy.
This is David. What does it look like?
The Moonbase, only closer.
Try showing us on video, Michelle. See if I can get a picture.
Copy, Tom.
I have a picture. Do you copy, Michelle? I have a picture.
Copy you, Tom. Not too pretty, is it? Wonder what's down there.
We may lose contact as you enter the atmosphere. Just wanted to wish you good luck, Michelle.
Seems to be getting a sudden heat build-up. Not sure whether you shouldn't switch with the manual.
That's it. All the monitoring circuits are dead.
Give ourselves another 24 hours. 2,100 hours tomorrow.
Yeah.
It'll be easier. Staff are expecting another week or so.
I've got everything ready. We'll just feel sleepy, go to bed, and we won't wake up.
2,100 hours, then. Thanks, Tom. I must be losing my critical faculties. That meal was almost enjoyable. And I deserve something, too. I spent the afternoon telling my tape recorder about the pyramids. And not just the mathematical implications, but the whole Egyptian cult of the dead.
Let's have some more wine.
Surely.
Yes. Why not, eh?
Well, I only hope those giant ants from another galaxy that we've gone to all this trouble for, I only hope they know enough to switch on playback first and not just wipe out all our efforts by pushing record.
Well, let's hope they know about electricity.
Yes. A little cloudy, perhaps, like a bad beetroot soup. As Michelle would say, its bouquet reveals its place of origin.
Excuse me, Willie. I'm just going over to my place to check a few things.
Tell me, Professor Dice, do you really think there'll be anything to learn from all our notes and pictures and recordings?
There will certainly be something to find them. It may take a few million years, but it would be gross arrogance to assume that only man is capable of interplanetary flight.
So then it really is worth trying.
Oh, yes. Though I suppose the odds are that whatever finds our vestiges will be incomparably more developed than we are. Our little jottings will seem as inexplicable to them as the motives of lichen are to us.
No. I visualize my tape being found by a beautiful lady from Arcturus or Cassiopeia. Yeah? Like a Miss World, only pretty. Everything we like in women, she will have 2 of.
And the things?
And the things we like best, she will have 4. And she will clasp my tape to her bosom and sail among the stars.
Contestants who are going to win this week's golden handshake. So let's meet our first contestant. Let's meet Mr. Edward Hopkins. Now, Mr. Hopkins, what subject have you chosen to try to win this week's golden
They're
handshake?
alive. It was left out. I left it on. It's a
What's happened? I mean the fear you see, you know what I mean. Not the fear that goes out to sea. So, Edward, how do you spell fear? He is absolutely right so far. Take it easy, Edward.
The systems, they're starting to work again.
What's happened to
I
it?
heard somebody sending your call sign. It was Michelle. He's got through. I've just been talking to her. It's intermittent, love. Go ahead, Michelle. Tell us.
Is everything all right down there?
Oh, yes, fine now. There's been the most extraordinary drop in temperature. They recorded minus 20 degrees in Bruxelles. What happened, apparently?
We've lost him.
Don't worry. I think I understand. I think so.
What?
It didn't burn up the hydrogen in the atmosphere. It was an uncontained reaction, all right, but the particles must have interacted with a geocorona.
Oh, please, what are you saying? Is it all right or isn't it?
In the upper atmosphere, that would produce a belt of ionized gas, which would produce a complete shield all round the Earth. No light, very little heat, and certainly no radio waves could
But you
get
saw
through
what it looked like.
Yes. That was the sun's radiation reflected back. It looked as though it had all exploded. The atmosphere, I mean, but there was no explosion.
So by now, the particles of the fusion will be dispersing. I mean, well, the Earth will have heat. Life will go on as usual.
You were wrong, weren't you, eh? Thank God you were wrong.
Yes, I was wrong. Any man can make a mistake. But mankind, now mankind cannot be allowed one single mistake.